At Macworld, we've never been shy about climbing onto our soapbox and calling Apple out when it skimps on the specs we know customers deserve. For years, we've rallied against the stingy RAM in Macs until Apple finally bumped the baseline to 16 gigabytes to support Apple Intelligence. Now, we've set our sights on another long overdue upgrade, the base storage for iPhones. In 2025, it's time for Apple to ditch the 128GB starter tier and give us a generous 256GB right out of the box. And guess what? According to a Weibo post from the often reliable leaker Setsuna Digital, that long-awaited change might actually be happening. In their words, in 2025, Pro will finally start at 256GB. This is really not easy for Apple. Translation: Apple's finally loosening its grip, but it wasn't without a fight. If true, this would double the iPhone 16 Pro's current base storage, putting it on par with the iPhone 16 Pro Max. But because there's always a but, Setsuna Digital also warns that this shiny upgrade comes with a $50 bump in starting price. That means the iPhone 17 Pro could debut at $1,049 or even $1,149 if Apple's calculation factors in the current $100 premium for the 256GB model. Unfortunately, this fits the broader pattern. Other reports have hinted at price hikes across the iPhone 17 lineup, thanks to economic pressures, tariffs, and rising production costs. Apple's usual playbook in these situations: sweeten the deal by shifting storage tiers. Remember when the iPhone 15 Pro Max launched with 256GB as its baseline, eliminating the cheaper 128GB model? The starting price jumped $100 to $1,199, but technically Apple wasn't charging more for 256GB than it had the year before. It just quietly removed the budget-friendly option. So don't be surprised if we see the same pricing sleight of hand for the iPhone 17 Pro. In fact, Apple could spin it as a price drop. $1,049 for 256GB would be $50 less than today's 256GB iPhone 16 Pro, $1,099. That is, unless they decide to get bolder and add $150 to the base price. As for the non-Pro models, Apple's expected to keep the iPhone 17 at $799, while the new iPhone 17 Air, replacing the $899 iPhone 16 Plus, could creep up to $949, or even $999 to inch closer to Pro territory. We won't have to wait long to see how this all shakes out. Apple is rumored to unveil the iPhone 17 lineup next month, possibly on September 9. Until then, we'll be watching the rumor mill like hawks and updating our iPhone 17 Super Guide with every juicy leak. In September, Apple will launch the iPhone 17, iPhone 17 Pro, iPhone 17 Pro Max, and an all-new model that's especially slim and is nicknamed iPhone 17 Air. Here's everything that will happen between now and the day you can buy one, down to the minute, including when pre-orders will open, how you may be able to jump to the head of that line, and when to expect reviews of the phones to appear. And remember, everything here applies to Apple Watch as well, as the Apple Watch Series 10 and Apple Watch Ultra 3 with a bigger-than-ever display are also predicted to appear, possibly alongside Apple Watch Special Edition 3rd Generation and Apple AirPods Pro 3. The keynote is when Apple will reveal its new handsets, plus new Apple Watch models, including an Apple Watch Ultra 3, which may have the biggest display yet. I believe it will be announced at around 8 a.m. Pacific on Tuesday, August 26. You can read full details of the announcement and how it will happen here. Once the keynote has been announced, around 2 weeks will pass until it takes place. Unless there's a major surprise, it will be in the 1,000-seater Steve Jobs Theater at Apple Park, the company's Cupertino headquarters. It will start at 10 a.m. Pacific, 1 p.m. Eastern, 6 p.m. UK time. As for the date, that's looking increasingly likely to be the date I predicted in July.